Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target morning brief where you invest in fighter pilot precision on a daily basis. First of all, Apple, wow, earnings crushed, amazing numbers. Everyone is shocked, kind of called it yesterday. Also, they increased their dividend. I did not think that was going to happen, so I was wrong there. But what a quarter, increased buyback. So really pretty amazing across the board. Facebook right along with it, just as amazing with the numbers that they produced going forward. Both those stocks are up pre-market, and we're going to cover those a little bit from what happened yesterday and kind of recap the week. But really, we're switching our focus towards today, which is the Amazon earnings after the bell. There's a couple other big names out, but primarily Amazon is the one we're going to talk about here today in the show. A couple of administrative things. Happy birthday to Jumper right here in the squadron. So congrats. Very cool. Enjoy your day. And also we have the NFL draft starting tonight. So it's kind of like getting back into football mode, albeit a very early time to do so. But for those of us that are playing these keeper leagues, you know, the draft does affect the value of the folks we have. So it's kind of like almost football's back, or at least football's going to start getting its back into the conversation, which of course I love. So with that, if you're catching us on replay, make sure you click subscribe and notifications bell. If you want to join us live, there's a Q&A window and chat window off to the side that you don't see, which is how the squadron communicates with me. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone. Here's our lineup card for today. Again, make sure you have your call sign set up and your chat and Q&A windows open appropriately. All right, standard disclaimer applies to financial education presentations. You have to do your own due diligence for acting one. Anything you hear in this presentation, full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. This is a new setup that I'm using today, so if you do happen to have any feedback or something looks different that you like or don't like, go ahead and put it into the chat or reach out on the side. All right, mission objectives today on Thursday, April 29th, 2021. Man, April almost done already. Sure seems like this year is just flying by. Mission objectives today: grow our money, protect our money, live off our money. Again, we're talking earnings. We're talking growing our money, talking about where do we put our capital based on the numbers that we see from these companies that are reporting earnings. To kind of recap the week, remember we started off with Tesla on Monday after the bell. They beat earnings, but the stock sold off. There's plenty of things not to like about the Tesla quarter there. On Tuesday, we had both Microsoft and Google. Alphabet is the parent company. We still call it Google there because that's ticker GOOG. Both did great. Microsoft sold off due to some issues that were concerning. Google had no issues and went higher. Yesterday, we also had UPS thrown in there on Tuesday as well. And then, of course, yesterday was Apple and Facebook. So talking about the Apple earnings, increase in revenue of 54%. That's unbelievable. I heard him say right beforehand that Apple's increase in revenue, just the increase piece, was larger than 2/3 of the S&P 500's overall revenue. Kind of crazy. Sure, there's going to be some too big to fail commentary that is going to come out of this. I'm sure there's going to be more government scrutiny, that sort of thing. But even if they broke Apple up, you're going to end up with more value even with the companies broken up, right? So they break out Apple TV, or they make the iPhone stand alone, or whatever is decided to be done. It's going to be like the breakup of Ma Bell back in the day. You're going to end up with several companies that are all going to probably do very well on their own, right? The leadership team at Apple is just pretty has played everything perfectly. They're quiet intentionally during their cycles where they're developing new products and services. Then they release them in grand fashion, so that allows the stock to sell off during the quiet period because they just simply are not answering people's questions, but then allows them to come raging back when not only the product is released but then the numbers that follow that product. And that's what we saw yesterday with earnings. They're also buying back shares, which again is a lot of people hate this. It gets a bad name, but in effect, if there's a kabillion shares out there and they retire a million of them, there's a kabillion minus a million shares out there. So that means each share you own is a fractional ownership of the company, albeit a very small part. If you own significant amount of shares, it does add up. But basically, by retiring these shares, your individual share is worth more. That helps drive the stock price higher. They're also increasing their dividend, so small. And again, I was wrong because I said I didn't think they'd do that. They did it. Well, good for them. But that also helps now make it more attractive to those folks that are living off income, because you're getting a little more income generation out of your mega holding. So obviously, fantastic day for Apple, which benefits most of us in the room that are with me, and fantastic day for Afterburner Financial as well. There's just no way to sugarcoat it. It was all high fives last night on for the folks that I talked to. So Facebook, again, good long-term hold as well. There's going to be more challenges with the privacy thing. The new iOS, I think it's 14.5. 514, maybe I have my numbers messed up, but the one that just got released, and I saw this last night because I downloaded a weather app because we were supposed to get some more hail fun. But it does allow you now to go in and block advertisers from getting your privacy information from your phone. So where the websites you're going to, the apps you're using, you can block that now, which is huge. And it's called the anti-Facebook app for a reason, because Facebook is one of the biggest villains, if you will, of tracking all your information. So I'm just at the beginning edge of doing that. I think there's some videos out now on how to go in there and block all that stuff. So if you're an iPhone user, you have the ability to kind of gain your privacy back. Facebook says that's not going to hurt them. They've got other ways to dominate that space. So anyhow, the stock is going higher for sure there. All right, switching to today's topic, which is Amazon. If you think somebody has, so think back to the lockdown, right? Well, Amazon was one of those no-brainers. The stock went down to $1,500 a share. It was buy it up hand over fist. If we're all going to be locked in our homes, and Amazon's going to be delivering to our door like daily, right? I mean, and for a social aspect, right? It's like the people living out in the country. It's like, ooh, the mail person's here, yay, right? So there was a social factor of that too. So buy the stuff you need. It gets delivered to your door along with Grubhub and Uber Eats and all of the other flash in the pan companies that came out to get you your food and stuff to your house. Of course, that was a no-brainer investment. Well, that was at $1,500. It went over $3,500 today. So if in the while blood is in the streets and not stupid, people that are concerned with how much money they are losing on paper are selling their shares of Amazon, simply pick those up. So a nice double since then. But when you really look, can they continue? Of course they can continue. Amazon has its hands in everything, which means it's will come under monopoly scrutiny as well. But until then, until they force them to break up, it's they're just going to make more money. So I really anticipate it'll be a quarter like Apple. People will be amazed with the amount of money they make, and that the stock will go higher. And when you think, okay, these stocks are going higher off of this, but can they come right back in? They could, but what it does is it puts some strength, and we'll look at that here in a second. It puts some strength to the name. Which means during a sell-off, it's not going to retrace as far as a normal stock would that doesn't have that floor in. And we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll also, for a question today, what's a cash out refinance? We'll talk about that. Interest rates are staying low. You heard Federal Chairman Powell yesterday continue to reiterate what he's always said, and it seems like it's surprising news. No, they're not raising interest rates. People, especially Republicans right now, they're big in with Biden's speech last night, which we're not going to go into today because I haven't done a true amount of research for it. But the call is going to be inflation and interest rates are going to have to go higher, all of that stuff. Well, I don't know that that's the case. The Fed says that's not the case. I don't think that's the case, but we're certainly keeping an eye on it. All right, we're flow for day, long, short, open, short, long. We're on market review and headline review. We're taking a look at Apple and that floor I'm talking about. Then we'll also look at Amazon for today. We get in the short-term execution. I saw a couple of names pop in here. Let me give you that information. There you go, the longs and the shorts, and contingencies of academic resources are standard. Going over to TD Ameritrade, here is the setup I'll have Cheesecake Factory and Facebook going higher, and then Teladoc is just getting hammered after earnings. That story is kind of the the game's kind of over for Teladoc, at least to where everybody thought it was for the big COVID play, if you will. Okay, so we'll take a look, zoom out here and go to how are we looking overall in the market. Again, pretty flat going into yesterday. Today set up to be a pretty big day coming off of the earnings. Let's take a look at that real quick. SPY on a 5-day chart. So here, I mean, this is an EKG, right? We are literally flat this week and haven't done anything. We have the big Apple and Facebook earnings, and now we're jumping up to 420. Hey, Elon Musk probably tweeted about that this morning, and I missed it. If he hasn't, I bet he does. All right, and then there's our day trading stuff. Let's come back to the Google Chrome, and we will check out, refresh these for the futures. You can see a NASDAQ up almost 1%. Going around the world, EU split, Asia up across the board. That's good. Bonds 1675. That's been jumping and nobody's really talked about it. I think that's jumping because of Biden's speech last night, but that's a pretty significant jump. It'd be really nice for that to stay below the 10-year, stay below 1.7. All right, oil it's above 65 now, so kind of creeping higher. Gold and silver are mixed. Crypto, these big moves have kind of tailed off to a smaller move, so down a couple percent, but not quite as all over the map as it was before. Okay, Biden's speech last night, a lot of different things were packed in that. I don't know enough to be able to talk about the impact of that to the markets. Expect that either tomorrow or Monday as we start to kind of hear what's realistic and what's not to get out of that. New York City 100% open on July 1st. That is huge. I think everybody else will beat them to it, but at least New York City is coming up. Yeah, there is some chip shortage talk about Apple and that affecting the stock price. Maybe, I don't know, if it drops from here, you can buy more. All right. There's a Dogecoin comment. What was that? It was on fire yesterday. Soars as it gets another big supporter. Yeah, it went to Ellen DeGeneres, and there was another one, movie star type person that started talking Dogecoin. Don't touch that stuff. That's my recommendation. If you do, you can treat it as entertainment, if you will. Okay, here's Amazon's chart. I want to look at Apple first and talk about the floor that I'm talking about. So really, here you are. Apple is gapping up to around 138 or so this morning. As far as what it does, these strong earnings, even if it starts to come in and it really bolsters this 120, there's almost no way it's going to go back below that 120 now.
Tell me what I need to know.
That it
if you think 65 is too old for the passing lane?
For Apple. So when you look at Amazon, and I think the floor is really in at 3,000 regardless of what it does. But so you have 3,000, it's bounced off of there a few times, gapping up to over 3,500 this morning. But even if it starts to sell off, it's probably not going below that 3,200 level, but definitely holding the 3,000. So even if we do have the market correction, that's coming, and bear markets